phase, and want to welcome you all this morning. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy morning to join us. We're really excited about our partnership with Trade Services, and so what we've done is we've joined forces with them to bring you guys the best attributed data and e-commerce solution together. Today we have on the call, we have Sumana Rao, and she's with Trade Services. She's the VP of Content. Sumana, you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
Sumana, are you on the call?
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Sue from Trade Service. Glad to be here. Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome. And then we also have Mark Kostopany on the call. He's the president of Second Phase, and today he's going to go through some web stores that are populated with the new e-commerce content kit, and he'll show you how it all comes together with the Cloud LSI and the PIM tool. Mark?
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of people joining as we're speaking, so I'll pause for a second here, let everyone catch on. But first I'm going to bring the screen to me. I think it's now.
And if everyone, once Mark starts the presentation, if you can mute yourself till the end of the call or till the end of the presentation, and then we'll have a question and answer time at the end.
And we also have Bob Stone on the call from Trade Service, and he'll be speaking about halfway into the webinar. This should be a short webinar, about 15-20 minutes. The key was just to give you a really good sense for what this product content is all about, this new product from Trade Service, and how it works with our websites via the Cloud LSI tool, which many of you have already either have or have been looking at. So let me bring up our slideshow here and get started. And I have recorded this, so if anyone wants to see this later, it will be available for reviewing later. There you go. So Renee, can you see this?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, great. So as mentioned, this is a new product from Trade Service that we'll be introducing, and it works directly with our Cloud LSI tools. So they kind of go arm in arm, hand in hand together. And really the point of this was to kind of complete the circle. We've been offering web stores now for 15 years. Over the last 5 years, we created a Cloud LSI tool for product information management. And now we're offering this product content from Trade Service to kind of complete the circle. Before, we used to tell you these portions were on your own. Then we used to tell you this portion was on your own. And now we're telling you that we can solve the whole thing via partnership with Trade Service and our Cloud LSI tool. So that's kind of where this is coming from, is that our goal is to give you the means to have a very effective web store. And every study that's been done has shown that content is what really brings it to the next level. The better your content, the better your sales will be online. It's why one of our customers used to be an executive at Grainger, and he told us flat out that Grainger just sat down and decided to spend $10 million to get their content where they needed it to be. They knew that was the only way their e-commerce initiative was going to take off, and now they hit $3 billion in sales on their e-commerce initiative. So it really is the key. How do you get good content? Where do you get it from? And we're working with Trade Service to provide that solution. So the way it works is we have our Cloud LSI plus PIM tool. The PIM portion we just introduced in the last 6 months, and this is meant to be the product content hub. This is where your data comes from. In our case, from Trade Service. It can come from the PIM itself, where you can enter data right here in the PIM. It can come from vendors direct if you have such information, or other sources as well. And then, of course, your ERP data fills in the gap to make it all flow. So once the data gets into the PIM, then it can then flow into the Lightspeed indexing, and Lightspeed indexing then feeds it into the web store, our Second Phase e-commerce store, real time with pricing and availability upon search. So all the data sits here in a memory resident form, so it's extremely fast, and it can then feed to this e-commerce and third-party apps. So I bring this up because it's absolutely critical to the data. Just getting data isn't the solution. It's getting data plus a tool like this to make use of the data in a proper form. Let's go on to the next slide. You can also export this data from the Cloud LSI to CSV file for either bringing it back into your ERP if you do updates here, or for other applications that you may have that may need data. So it gives you the basically the ability to use Cloud LSI plus PIM as your main source of repository for product content. We also have a version for buying groups, and some of you maybe are members of iMark that we have a relationship with that are already doing this. Others may be part of other buying groups, and so something you might want to bring up to your buying group is that this Cloud LSI tool was designed for buying groups as well. And in that case, you have a master catalog, and the master is what gets the data from trade service and feeds it into the master. It can also bring in additional data from other sources, and then that data goes to all the distributors that are hooked up to the master catalog, so all the members of the buying group. So it could be an unlimited number of catalogs that get created off of the master catalog. Once you have an individual local catalog, that's yours to change, to edit, to use as you want. This master has become a really cost-effective way to share the cost of getting data, which of course has been another issue in the past, is the cost of data. So here we're trying to solve that for you by offering this at a buying group level or even a user group level. If you have a user group for your ERP, you could also band together by sector, plumbing, electrical, industrial, and say, let's get together as a group and help create a master catalog that we can then all share the costs. Or it can become your own master catalog for your own individual company if you're a larger company. Then you might want to share amongst branches this way. So each branch could have their own version of the data based on a master catalog. So then you have the additional feed of data directly to the local catalog. You can also share data amongst fellow members that are part of this initiative. So you can share data you have with other members for free and use this whole methodology as a data co-op where you share data amongst each other. Then you can of course, feed, like I mentioned in the previous slide, the web store or apps and such. So the benefits of the Cloud LSI plus PIM is that you can then manage all your data sources in one location and auto-update them. It's designed to automatically grab additional data from all your sources every night that it finds updates. So it becomes one spot where all your data flows to. Then you can edit that data using the PIM, change the description, add additional images, add additional spec data, attribute data, and such, and do that either individually per product or as a group of products, a whole category of products, or all your products. So a very, very clean way to do this. And then you can, like I said, you can also feed back to the master catalog if you're using this in a buying group methodology. And then another cool feature is we have an automated data quality tools built into this where it automatically looks for problems of the data and flags those problems and helps you fix them, such as missing images, missing descriptions, duplicate descriptions. All that kind of stuff is built right into the PIM to help you solve data issues and make a better experience for your clients. Then LSI itself, which is what feeds the web store, can define usage of the data, how the data gets used. It can now enable very fast searching and allow you to have intelligent searching like antonyms, misspellings, type ahead, keyword suggestions, etc. So here's the product data that trade service is calling their e-commerce content. This is basically the spec. It can be adjusted, but here's kind of the base spec. So at this stage, I'm going to turn the call over to Bob Stone with Trade Service, so he can explain the idea behind this this product of theirs.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, great.
So, I know several of you are already using various services from Trade Service, and so some of this will be a review, and some of it will be new, and then I think we're also going to help some of you that are using particularly our eDataFlex Catalog Connect service. I'm going to go through a little bit on kind of the difference between this e-commerce content that we're about to look at and the Catalog Connect. So just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to cover. But the idea, as Mark said, is that if you're going to create, what we sometimes describe as an Amazon-like experience for your online user, you really have to provide a higher level of content than a lot of sites in our industries have been putting out there recently. And for example, using this little brochure as a way of visualizing it, you can see that there is an image of the product, absolutely essential. And in this case, it's going to be a nice, in the background, there's a nice big 1,000-pixel image that's going to provide the ability to zoom and still give a good image to view. Right under the image, you see the something that's very important, which is the feature and benefit text. And so, keep in mind, in an online environment, your salesperson is not there to help translate product features into actual benefits that the user or the user's customer would experience if they indeed purchase this product. And so this feature benefit content is important to the online experience. And then you see, of course, in the upper right, you see the actual facts about the product. These are just what we often call the attributed data, the list of technical property labels and the associated values that are true about this product. And this is going to be important for the user when they need to just make sure they're buying the right product based on its specifications. And then in the middle, you see the list of attachments that are linked to this item. In this case, we have the catalog page. It's an image of the catalog page that the item appears on in the manufacturer's catalogs. There are installation instructions, if that is provided by the manufacturer, that explains, how this product is installed. And then there's an additional specification sheet, more information, usually right at the submittal level for the document. And then sometimes there may be a material safety data sheet also attached to the item. So all of these, it links to even richer information, even more detailed information on the product, can be very important in that online selling environment. And then on the bottom of the screen, we have what we typically call the logistical or packaging information that provides the weight of the product in its packaging, as well as the dimensions of the product and the overall cubic volume. All of these are needed in order to calculate a point of sale shipping cost if you happen to be shipping product out of your warehouse as a result of taking orders on your web store. And so it is, and then finally, another thing important is what we call the taxonomy. So there needs to be a good way for your customer to kind of drill down through categorical level searching in order to get to, a smaller set of products from which they will eventually choose the item that they need. And so what we, in this type of environment, we're building this data out, according to a identified set of items, whether it's for an individual distributor or for a group of distributors. We identify the specific items that are needed for a web store or an e-commerce initiative, and then we build them all out to this specification in order to provide that rich level of experience that you want for your online customers. Now, Mark, if you want to bring up that spreadsheet. So we have a lot of people that subscribe to a service that we have called eDataFlex Catalog Connect, and a lot of those customers are also, looking at e-commerce, and frankly, many of them said, well, I don't understand the difference. I thought I was kind of already getting that when I got my eDataFlex Catalog Connect. And so I created a little bit of a guide to understanding the difference between these two things. And first of all, just let me state at a high level, and this kind of gets to this coverage point on here, that eDataFlex Catalog Connect provides a very large data set. In electrical, it's over 1 million items of items connected to images, catalog page attachments, MSDS sheets, and so forth. So it's a very wide set of data, but compared to e-commerce content, it's not quite as deep. So it's very wide, which works extremely well for enriching the enterprise environment and can give your users internally, quick access to a tremendous amount of product information that they may need to quickly make available to their customers. And so it's very handy. It can be used in an e-commerce application, but typically it's not providing the same level of enrichment that most people are needed now. And so some of those specific differences are in the Catalog Connect service. All of the information is rendered in uppercase, which is okay for sort of an internal use and for an enterprise use. But in order to provide the best experience on a web store environment, it needs to be rendered in proper case. That's just much more readable on the web, and it's just a much better way to render the text information. The image size, as I mentioned, in Catalog Connect, you get a 320 by 320 pixel image. That's the standard image. It fits in a window, but it doesn't provide that zoom level capability that you do with a much larger image, so that when it's zoomed on, you get a nice big clear image of the product, and that's a very important feature within an e-commerce content site. And then we mentioned the marketing text, the actual information that converts the features into customer benefits. Those are not present at all in the Catalog Connect service. They're very robustly populated within the e-commerce content service. We talked about the coverage a little bit. eDataFlex provides a standard set of coverage on a very large set of items. E-commerce content provides a very deep, highly populated set of data for a very specific set of items. And by the way, those items do not need to come from the trade service database. We can build any manufacturer using services, as opposed to just what comes in the Catalog Connect. It's limited to what's in the trade service database. Population percentage. This is important. When we populate the elements in the Catalog Connect service, we're basically relying on whatever is available on the manufacturer's public website, which often is quite a bit. But when we are working on an e-commerce content engagement, we are taking that to another level, where if we cannot find the information that we need within the manufacturer's public website, then we can engage those vendors directly, sometimes with the help of our customers, so that they can assist us in pointing us to different materials or providing us directly materials that we need to make sure we get a very high population rate for every content element that's been identified for the service. And then content integration, Catalog Connect, we provide the information out there. It does connect automatically with quite a few enterprise systems, Eclipse and Nextrend and P21 and so forth. But this content, specifically with second phase, is deeply integrated within the second phase LSI tool, so that not only can you display the information, but you actually can take advantage of the attributed content to create a search, find, and refinement process that is really simply amazing. So, so the integration at the content level within the second phase for the e-commerce content is superior to the Catalog Connect, which is basically just a long description. So those are some of the keys. Hopefully that anticipated some of the questions you might have had if you were wondering, about the difference between Catalog Connect and e-commerce content.
All right, thanks, Bob. So now I'm going to get in and just show some sites that actually have this data, so you can see it kind of in a more website form versus a static PowerPoint page. So let's go back and bring up a browser here and get right into some sites. So this is a site that actually has e-commerce content data that was created just for the iMark buying group, but I want to show you that it's basically the kind of specification we're talking about here for others as well. And if you are a member of iMark, then you're already, and you're getting advantage of this e-content kit, this is what you're going to get. And so you can see here, first of all, you have very good refinements going on. This all comes from the trade service data. It's built right into the data. So if you have the data, this content kit, this comes along for the ride. And that's why we include Cloud LSI with the data. It's the combination that gives you a working solution. Just handing you data is not going to give you what you need. So you can see very deep brand names and ballast types. And these are the kind of things that a business-to-business e-commerce store needs to let someone quickly find the product they're looking for. And the deeper the search refinements, the better the results they have found. You also have, when you're up here at the keyword level and typing in, like, for example, compact, you can see it quickly start showing you keywords from Cloud LSI that were built in, and you can add, you can adjust these as well. And then you can basically make really good choices right here at the keyword search level for finding the product. So this is also a key part of the data. And so if we go back here and say I have a specification in my hand that I'm looking for a 4-pin compact fluorescent light bulb. So I go right here to exactly the product I'm looking for, and if one click, I went from 666 items to one. Something must have happened here. And so here we see we have the specification data, the resource data, and the catalog pages and such, and you can see what you get with this particular item. And so each item will have this information. Looks like this one still needs to get the features and benefits added to it. Here we get features and benefits, specifications, resources. So the goal is to have every single item that you sell have this level of data. And that's what we're working on. That's the whole point of this. And this is a demonstration to show you where the path we're on. So here it is for electrical. If we go over here to this site, this has plumbing. So if we go here, same kind of research refinements here. Here you see the taxonomy. We go from valves to ball valves to brass ball valves, and that's all part of the data as well. So you get that kind of path that's logical. And you can adjust any of these and edit any of these, but these categories get created just from the trade service data automatically, if you so choose. Here you see, once again, the deep level of attribution to allow you to find exactly what you're looking for based on keywords here. And then so then you can go to the product you're looking for and bring it up and see the details here. Here we see, once again, features and benefits. We see really deep specifications. In this case, we have packaging information that will be displayed to show, once again, the weights and sizes and the kind of things needed for shipping and such. So it becomes a really rich experience for all the key products that you have in this solution. So now let's go into some actual live sites. Go out of the demo world, and here's some sites that are just about to go live. So there's still some tweaking here, but here we see a product on this site that has the e-commerce content. They have to go into a Cloud LSI and basically turn on and off what they want to display here. A couple of clicks, they can do that. Here they have everything being displayed. So now they can come in here and refine this to exactly what's important for their customer base. So right now then they have also to show substitute items, good resource pages here, the category pages, spec information, and that kind of thing, all right here. So a very rich experience for their clients when they go live here in about the next 2 weeks, when they refine this and turn this on or off. Here's an actual live site that's utilizing the e-commerce content that's live today. And here you can see they used to have probably about a third of these specifications before they used the e-commerce content. They are a Catalog Connect customer, and so they kind of decided to take it to the next level and get the data where they wanted it. And right now we're working with them on the display stuff to get this displayed exactly as they want, so that features and benefits display as bulleted list up here and that kind of thing. But so really that was really what we wanted to show you today, was how to take your web store to the next level. Many of our customers, this is as much data as they give a client, is what's shown in their ERP. And this is not going to result in good sales other than your most hardcore customers that know exactly what they want. But anyone trying to break out of the box of what they typically buy and look for additional products to add to their cart needs better, richer information. And it's absolutely critical that they get that via the content and spec sheets and catalog pages and all the things that are needed to make a decision to move forward in a business-to-business environment, which is what you guys are selling to, wholesale environment. So that's the whole point of this, is take it to the next level. And in trade services, got a great price point that they haven't offered before. So I'm going to open it up for questions, and we can go from there. So someone had typed one earlier. It says, how about vendors like Rheem and heating equipment? Bob, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, you know, that's a great example of a vendor that is not necessarily covered well in the trade service standard product file, but it's absolutely no problem to build that content using the e-commerce content services. So there's no limitation as to which vendors can be provided as part of the custom content engagement, as opposed to the e-commerce, as opposed to Catalog Connect, which is limited to just the vendors that are in trade service.
And Bob, do you want to get into a quick thing on pricing? I know it'll be a variable depending on the situation, but there's pricing based if you're part of a buying group, and then there's pricing based if you're coming one-on-one with you guys. You want to get a little into that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if it's a one-on-one engagement, that we're doing for a customer, typically, you're going to provide us with a list of items that you want to bring online. For instance, there's we're currently working on a project for a plumbing distributor. They've provided us a list of about 20,000 items or so, and we're building those items out on a per SKU basis. Now, the cost per SKU can vary depending on the volume involved and if there are any special content elements that need to be captured. But I'm a little hesitant to throw pricing out there. But if you need something to use as a budget figure, depending on your volume and so forth, it's going to be somewhere between $1.50 and $2 per SKU to build the custom items. Now, if you're part of a group project, that changes the dynamic considerably because it's basically a cost-sharing approach. For instance, the iMark project, we had over 40 members that participated in that project, and a large database was identified by analyzing the submitted files from each of the members, and we identified that we could build a very relevant set of data containing 300,000 items that wouldn't cover every item from each of the participants, but it would cover a significant portion of it. And by sharing the costs, it just got it down to just a very, very reasonable cost to do so, and still leaving plenty of budget in the distributors to build out any items that were not covered by the group project. And even that process can be shared amongst common distributors, and can get together and form little groups to share the cost to build additional content down the road.
So yeah, if you're part of a buying group and you'd like to see this happen at your buying group level, let us know the name of the buying group you belong to, and then we're actually in contact with many of them already. Many of them have already agreed to step forward and take a pilot project with this. But we would like to get an email at sales@secondphase.net about what buying group you're a member of, and if you want to give us a contact there to contact. And of course, we could use the help of getting their attention and explaining to them what the benefits of this are. We're talking dramatic savings if you can. And Blue Hawk is something we've been talking to them about this, and we'll see where it goes with them. But even if they go a different route with the data, we can still consume that data, even if it's not from trade service. Anyone else have any more questions?
Hey, Mark. This is Rich at United.
Hey, Rich.
We're currently listing around 66,000 items. And I know you can't answer this without doing analysis, but is there a mechanism where we could send you the list and say, here's how many of those specific items have this enhanced content? Because we're already getting feeds from both Trade Service and IDW.
I'm sure that would be. Bob, what do you think?
Yeah. Hi, Rich. This is Sue from Trade Service. So I can answer that. If you send me your file of your 50,000+ items, just the UPC number, the catalog number, a short description, we can match it against the database of about 300,000 items that we have built out and give you an analysis of the items that we're missing.
Okay.
And we can use our custom content services to build out, you know, any items that are not already in there.
And I guess a follow-up question, I guess, Mark, I'm not sure if I deal with you or Bob on this, but since we're members of IMARC and we're already getting a host of services, what's, I guess how much is what I'm asking.
Well, the IMARC deal, that Pacific deal has a set number, and that we can get to that privately with you. But if you wanted to do something outside of the IMARC, you certainly are welcome to do that, and that's what you're talking about right here, of having them analyze, you know, a list of products and getting a sense for that cost. So you can kind of compare yourself, I guess. And I think the offer, I mean, Bob, you guys have offered in the past taking a small number of products from anybody and giving them a sense of what you can do for them, and then giving them kind of like
we have what we call a complementary pilot project where, Rich, you could send me a list of 25 or 50 items, and we can, even if, you know, if they're not, they don't even have to be vendors that are represented in Trade Service. We can build that content, show you what it would look like, and you know, as Sumina was saying, you know, if you you know, participated in the IMARC eBranch toolkit, you would get you know, automatically all of the items covered by the 300,000, and then we could do that analysis and say, okay, you know, here's what will be covered by the IMARC project, and then if you want to fill in the blank using content services for a smaller number of items, then you know, we can definitely look at that too. So
okay.
It's pretty easy to put together a specific proposal for United, you know, once we understand what the items are that you need, by using a combination of the leveraged content in IMARC as well as specific content services to cover additional items that are not.
And Mark, is there any change to the mechanism, like every night we extract a file, send it up for the LSI process, and that right now contains all those attributes and everything else? Would that process be different now?
No. Process would be, I can't speak to you exactly, Rich, I'm sorry, but as far as I know, as far as I know, it shouldn't be any different. And that's the point of Cloud LSI. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, this is Alan at New Light. So, and we're part of IMARC. So if we have the trade service items, the IMARC catalog, and then there'll obviously be some items that are not covered that we have in our database. I understood it before that we could point our database to the, I guess, the LSI cloud, and that it would first look at the master catalog and then look at our database for the items that aren't in the master. Is that correct, or do we have to do the same thing that the other gentleman was talking about?
Well, it'll show both your products that aren't part of IMARC and your products that are, and they'll both be on the web store. What Rich is talking about, and what an option is for you, is to see what products that are critical that aren't part of IMARC that you also want to get to the same level of data, you know, same rich level, and then you can see what it would cost to get those additional SKUs to that level and make a decision based on that. You know, same kind of thing we're offering to Rich at United Electric, is that you can just make a decision then on any SKUs that aren't part of IMARC to say take it to the next level.
Okay, so Sue, would we do the same thing? send our,
yes,
say, stock
yeah,
database?
exactly. If you can send me, yeah, your list of stock items, then I can compare it to the base set of items and give you an analysis of what's already covered and what we need to cover through the custom content services.
Okay, great. Thank you
And I
very
can
much.
give you a custom proposal.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anytime.
And I know we're talking a lot about iMark, and there's some on the call that aren't part of iMark. So same thing, I think for you guys, you can give us a list of 20, 30 items that you'd want to have a sense for what kind of data would look like for your industry. And then they can give you a proposal based on that. So it's the same story, just giving you an idea of what the data could be for your industry.
Hi, this is Ben from Kendall. I was wondering, as far as this trade service, content services, how do you accommodate products that don't have UPC? Or do you have a way of accommodating those type of products and populating the content and taxonomy?
Yes. The items don't necessarily have to have a UPC number in order to be to have content services applied to them, as long as there is a number like a part number and vendor name that can be matched up with the information that appears on the vendor's public website. That's basically what. So we know that not every vendor has assigned UPC numbers to all their products, but as long as we can match it up, using the part number, that works just as well. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
This is Scott from Maumee Supply. I've got a question for Bob Stone. We currently have the trade service package. We're getting the data, and would this replace our current contract, and would we go with the Cloud LSI and trade service, or would we need to keep both services?
Scott, that's really a question that you'll kind of have to think about. Keep in mind that most people subscribe to the Catalog Connect because it covers a very wide set of data, and they want to give their users quick access to catalog pages, images, on a very broad set of data, and so you may or may not continue to need that. If you go with content services, you're going to get very deep data on a very limited set of data. You might want to build 15 or 20,000 items for your website. Now, if you no longer get the Catalog Connect, then you're only going to have rich data at your fingertips, for that same set of 15 or 20,000 items. So that's the thing to consider. Not saying that it wouldn't work, but that's what you'd have to consider, is whether or not your use model for that data is, hey, I need this deep, wide set, or if the only thing you're using that Catalog Connect for is to enrich a small number of items for your web store, then it potentially could be something that you would no longer need.
Okay. And does trade service generate the features and benefits and all that additional rich content, or is that being pulled back from other users' content as they subscribe to the LSI and that they've put in?
We essentially edit the information that's provided by the manufacturer on their sites. We have to provide sort of a bulleted list form of the features and benefits that we see that the manufacturer promotes regarding their products. So we're not making any of it up, but we are sometimes condensing the information.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Obviously, the contact information is right here on the screen, so if you have any questions, you can certainly ask us directly to Bob or Sumana. And Sumana, can you give your email address out? Sorry, I didn't put it down here.
Sure. It's Sumana, SUMANA _Rao, RAO @tradeservice.com.
Great.
And I will follow up with Rich and Alan for, to get their files so we can do that analysis.
Great. All right, everybody, thanks for attending. And like I said, give us your questions as they come up. And if anyone wants more detail on Cloud LSI, I purposely didn't give that demo today because we've given it before. But we can certainly set up a Cloud LSI demo if you don't already have that product. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Bob and Sumana.
Thanks, Mark and Renee. Bye-bye.
At Electric Supply, our customers will be more successful by partnering with us. How? United delivers a higher level of innovative services through the